She learned early how to smile without making a sound. It was the kind of smile that convinced friends she was strong, convinced family she was happy, and convinced strangers that her life was perfectly in place. To the world, she looked like someone who had everything figured out. But behind closed doors, her heart was quietly learning how to ache without asking for help. She loved him in a way that felt permanent, like building a future brick by brick with bare hands and endless hope. They met when life still felt simple. He spoke about dreams as if they were promises, and she believed him because belief came naturally to her. She rearranged her plans to fit his, adjusted her silences to protect his moods, and told herself that love sometimes required patience. Every small neglect was forgiven, every unexplained distance was justified, because she trusted the version of him she first fell in love with. The signs came slowly. Late replies, distracted conversations, laughter that no longer included her. Still, she smiled. She told herself she was overthinking, that love did not always look the same every day. When he said he was tired, she listened. When he said he was busy, she understood. When he said everything was fine, she chose to believe him, even when her heart felt unsure. At gatherings, she stood beside him, smiling for photos that would later feel like lies. People admired them, called them perfect, and she nodded politely while something inside her quietly cracked. She never complained, never questioned him out loud, because she feared that asking for reassurance might push him further away. Her silence became her way of holding on. At night, when the world finally stopped watching, she lay awake replaying conversations, searching for warmth in memories that were growing cold. She wondered when love had started to feel lonely. She wondered why she felt like she was competing with something she could not see. Yet every morning, she woke up, fixed her smile, and stepped back into the role everyone expected her to play. This was the beginning of her quiet breaking. Not loud, not dramatic, but slow and unseen. She did not know yet that her heart was preparing itself for a truth she was not ready to face. For now, she smiled, because smiling was easier than admitting that the love she trusted was already slipping through her fingers. The distance between them grew without announcement. It lived in pauses, in unanswered questions, in the way his eyes no longer searched for hers. She felt it most in the silence. Silence during meals. Silence during calls. Silence that spoke louder than any argument ever could. Still, she stayed calm, believing that patience could fix what words no longer touched. He began guarding his phone like it held secrets instead of messages. He laughed at texts he never shared, stepped outside to take calls, and returned with excuses that felt rehearsed. She noticed everything but said nothing. Her heart whispered warnings, but her love argued back. She convinced herself that trust meant not questioning, even when doubt felt heavy in her chest. One evening, she asked him if something was wrong. He smiled, the same way she did, and said she was imagining things. That moment hurt more than anger ever could. Being told that her feelings were unreal made her feel invisible. She apologized for asking, even though she had done nothing wrong. That night, she cried quietly, careful not to let the sound escape. The truth revealed itself in fragments. A name mentioned too often. A story that changed each time it was told. A look of guilt that vanished too quickly. When she finally understood, it felt unreal, like watching someone else's life fall apart. He had given pieces of himself to someone else while she stood beside him, holding the remains of promises he no longer kept. Confrontation was brief and disappointing. There were excuses, half-truths, and apologies that arrived too late. He said it did not mean anything. She wondered how something that broke her so completely could mean so little to him. She listened, numb, as he explained himself, realizing that the man she loved no longer existed in the way she needed. That night, she did not scream or beg. She simply felt empty. The betrayal settled into her bones, heavy and cold. She understood then that her silence had not protected her love. It had only delayed her pain. The smile she wore for the world began to feel heavier, because now she knew the truth she was hiding from everyone, including herself. Healing did not arrive gently. It came in waves of grief that knocked the air from her lungs when she least expected it. She smiled through conversations, laughed at jokes, and fulfilled responsibilities while her heart replayed memories she wished she could forget. Every familiar place felt different now, stained by the knowledge of betrayal. She blamed herself at first. She wondered if she had loved too much, trusted too easily, or ignored too many signs. Self-doubt became her quiet companion. At night, she questioned her worth, her choices, and her understanding of love. During the day, she pretended she was fine, because explaining her pain felt exhausting. What hurt most was how alone she felt in her breaking. The world saw her strength, not her struggle. Friends admired her calm. Family praised her patience. No one saw the moments when she sat in silence, holding back tears, trying to understand how love could disappear without warning. She learned that heartbreak does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like survival. Slowly, something inside her shifted. The pain did not disappear, but it changed shape. She stopped checking her phone for messages that would never come. She stopped replaying conversations, searching for answers that no longer mattered. She allowed herself to feel angry, sad, and disappointed without apologizing for it. She realized that his betrayal was not a reflection of her value. It was a reflection of his choices. This understanding did not erase the hurt, but it gave her something solid to stand on. For the first time, she chose herself over the illusion of what they used to be. Her smile changed then. It was no longer a mask meant to protect others from her pain. It became a quiet promise to herself that she would survive this, even if survival felt slow and uncertain. She was still breaking, but she was also rebuilding, piece by fragile piece. Time did not heal her overnight, but it taught her patience with herself. She learned that moving forward did not mean forgetting. It meant accepting what happened without allowing it to define her future. She stopped measuring her worth by someone else's inability to be faithful. She began filling her days with small acts of self-respect. Saying no when something hurt. Walking away from conversations that drained her. Allowing herself rest without guilt. These choices felt unfamiliar at first, but they slowly rebuilt her confidence. She discovered strength in boundaries she once feared setting. The memories still visited her, but they no longer controlled her. She could think of him without feeling like she was falling apart. She understood that love should not require silence, sacrifice of self, or constant forgiveness of pain. Love should feel safe, honest, and mutual. One morning, she caught her reflection smiling without effort. It surprised her. This smile did not exist to convince the world of anything. It existed because she had survived something that once felt impossible. Her heart, though scarred, was still capable of hope. She did not rush into new promises or replace old ones. She allowed herself time. She learned to enjoy her own company, to trust her instincts, and to listen to her emotions instead of dismissing them. The loneliness she once feared became a space for growth. Her story did not end with betrayal. It continued with self-respect, awareness, and quiet resilience. She smiled now not because she was hiding her pain, but because she had faced it alone and emerged stronger. The world still saw her smile, but this time, it belonged to her.